Okay, I guess we're about ready to go. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is James Davenport. Welcome to the Don't Get Burned by Wildfire webinar. I want to go over a couple of logistical items before we get started on a webinar today. The chat box and buttons for raising your hand are on the right side of the webinar window. This box will collapse so that you can better view the presentation. To unhide the box, click the arrows on top of the panel. If you are having technical difficulties, please send us a message via the chat box on your right. Our organizer will reply to you privately and help resolve the issue. This webinar will be recorded and stored online for future viewing. To access the recording, follow the link on the webinar evaluation survey that you will receive via email within 48 hours. We will also be posting the webinar recording on the Wildfire Clearinghouse, which we'll be talking about in a minute. So I want to thank you in advance for completing the webinar evaluation survey, which you'll be receiving again 48 hours from now. Your feedback is very important to us, especially for the Wildfire project, because we will be looking at ideas for future webinars in the future on wildfire and wildfire planning. Pertaining to the question and answer session, we will hold questions and answer till the end of the webinar. Over the internet, you can type your question into the chat window, and the moderator, i.e. me, will read the question on your behalf. If you want to ask a question over the phone, click the Raise My Hand icon, and the moderator will call on you to ask a question. Again, we'll be holding the question and answer session after the webinar, but if you are asking a question over the internet, you can do so a little beforehand. The webinar today is conducted through a NACO project, Building County Capacity to Reduce Wildfire Risk in a Wildland-Urban Interface, which was kicked off last year. Additionally, the project and the webinar are supported through the U.S. Forest Service and the Bureau of Land Management. The session is also co-sponsored by the NACO Wildfire Advisory Group. It's a group composed of county elected officials, planners, emergency managers, and fire professionals, as well as representatives from state and federal agencies and key stakeholder groups to oversee activities of the project and review publications produced through this project, with the overall goal is to provide technical expertise and guidance as we progress through the project period. As such, all the speakers in the panel today of this webinar are members of the advisory group. All the products produced through the project will culminate in a best practices publication, which will be released next year. The purpose of the webinar today is to review various tools and resources that are available to counties and communities to reduce the risk of wildfire and address the critical issues within the Wildland-Urban Interface, or WUI. We will be doing this by reviewing the new NACO Wildfire Clearinghouse, which went live this month. In addition to seeing how to maneuver through the clearinghouse, I want to let everybody know that this tool is an evolving entity in which everyone may submit example programs to be downloaded onto the clearinghouse. Please feel free to send in your information to me that you believe will provide a good resource for the Wildfire Clearinghouse. The project is also a result of the 10-year comprehensive strategy, which was adopted by federal agencies and Western governors in collaboration with county commissioners, tribal officials, and other stakeholders. In a few minutes, I will introduce Ann Walker, who will provide a history of the 10-year strategy and will provide recent updates to that strategy. But along with that, she will discuss the role of the NACO project as part of the strategy, basically in line with the fourth goal, coordinate work to make model wildfire plans and ordinances widely available, as well as encourage states, counties, and municipalities to adopt wildfire codes, which is consistent with the objectives of the NACO project. Before I introduce the panel, I do want to discuss briefly a needs assessment that was conducted earlier this year in February. The purpose of the needs assessment is to really get a sense of what is out there, what are the needs in reducing the risk of wildfire, and to identify example policies, plans, ordinances, and programs to include in the clearinghouse. Results from the assessment indicated that about a third of the respondents did not have CWPPs, wildfire protection plans, community wildfire protection plans in place, mostly due to limited financial and technical resources. Also, about half had not adopted codes or ordinances of any kind, again, mostly due to lack of financial and technical resources, also because of insufficient public support in some cases. In other cases, state law prohibited counties in that state to have any kind of ordinance-making authority. The biggest challenge identified in the needs assessment was lack of funding, which is probably no surprise to anyone, and also growth in the wild and urban interface. A key component of the questionnaire inquired about the county's relationship with its state and federal agencies as well as its local fire agencies and planning against the risk of wildfire. Responding counties in most cases had strong relationship with the local fire agencies, and this led to key development in moving their fire program forward. Also, majority said that they worked closely with state agencies, especially in forming close ties with its neighboring jurisdictions to mitigate wildfire hazards. With federal agencies, responses were more mixed. Some had indicated the various trainings, meetings, and mutual aid arrangements that were in place, while others indicated that they did not hear from the federal representatives regularly. So for more information on the needs assessment, please don't hesitate to contact me. And I guess this will be a good time to conduct a poll. This is not a spectator sport here. We do want to involve everybody participating in this session to provide us with any kind of responses to questions that we relate to you. So the first question is, over the past 10 years, has the county experienced a wildfire, a severe wildfire that led to a loss of businesses, loss of infrastructure, loss of homes, loss of lives, or my county has not experienced a severe wildfire? So please take a few seconds to answer that question, and we will talk about the results in a few seconds. Okay, looks like quite a few people experienced loss of homes, which is not surprising. Some of the panelists and myself have talked about potential responses to this question, and loss of homes was a key item. And loss of infrastructure is also pretty high there too. Okay. I want to thank everybody for responding. Next item is I'll be introducing each of the speakers and reviewing what they will be covering in the webinar today. First would be Ann Walker, who's the Forest Health Program Director of the Western Governors Association. She's going to be focusing on state resources and community wildfire protection plans. Specifically, she'll be talking about the 10-year comprehensive strategy, which I mentioned earlier. Then she'll be talking about how the FEMA natural hazard mitigation plans can tier to a community wildfire protection plan and reduce duplication of planning efforts. She will then talk about the Healthy Forest Restoration Act, the role of decision makers in CWPP development, and then she'll discuss two of the handbooks that have come out over the past several years related to the development of certified community wildfire protection plans, one in 2004 and then a supplemental guide that came out in August of 2008. Following Ann will be Cheryl Renner, Renner Associates Planners in Tampa, Florida. Her presentation will focus on state ordinances and guidelines and model forest code ordinances. Cheryl's presentation will begin by discussing the two approaches to protect homes from wildfire: defensible space and non-combustible building materials. Then she will discuss state guidelines versus state laws, and then review the model WUI fire codes from the state of California and Oregon. And one of our polling questions that we were going to conduct in a few minutes will be related to those two model ordinances. And then last but not least, Phil Stenbeck, Senior Planner from Douglas County, Oregon. He will talk about land use plans, policies, ordinances, and covenants. And Phil will be talking again about the Douglas County Land Use and Development Ordinance along with the covenants. He is basically going to focus on both the regulatory and non-regulatory tools. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ann Walker. Again, she is currently the Program Director for Forest Health with the Western Governors Association. Ann has served as an active member of WGA's Forest Health Advisory Committee for several years and is currently a member of the Board of Directors for the International Association of Wildfire, and has been involved with the 10-year Comprehensive Strategy Implementation Plan 2002 and 2006 updates. Ann, take it away.
Thank you very much, James, and I also would like to thank National Association of Counties for inviting me to participate in this webinar. I think it's fantastic that we're doing this together and have local knowledge and experience from yourself and Phil and Cheryl to join in. I'm excited that this will be recorded as well, and that this 10-year task is really, truly one of the main focus tasks that will help local communities to reduce the risk of wildfire. So one of the specific task was 4-2 in the 10-year strategy, and if I can just give you a little bit of background on the 10-year strategy. You can see on the slide that up in the right-hand corner is the December 2006 version. But to kind of back up on this and give you a little history, the fires of 2000 focused national attention on the threats that wildland fire pose to people, communities, and natural resources. And so all levels of government really responded and together developed this, they joined forces to develop a comprehensive nationwide approach to lessen the impacts of unwanted fires. This involved non-governmental interests as well, and local government like cities, counties, and states, along with our federal partners, to deal with this. So a major component of that overall effort emerged in August of 2001, and that was the first collaborative approach for reducing wildland fire risk to communities and the environment, and that was the first 10-year strategy. The Western governors